What's going on, YouTubers? Yes, I do have teleportation. It's okay. Don't worry about it, guys. So, this is Zen from Zen Multiverse, and I hope you're having a great day. So, we are back with another episode of Powers Discussed, and today we are going to discuss Deadpool. Now, Deadpool is a really amazing character that was introduced into Marvel comic books during the time of in New Mutants number 98. And a lot of you comic book lovers know about New Mutants number 98 because it is a well sought out book, right? A lot of people are trying to collect it, get it in a CGC of a graded of 9.8, but that's not why you're here. You're here to hear about his powers, right? So this is very reminiscent to Wolverine in terms of his abilities, but I would argue, right? A lot of people would argue with me that his powers supersede that the likes of Wolverine himself, right? And the one that I'm talking about in particular that I really want to get into is his regeneration abilities. Now, Wade Wilson or Deadpool's regeneration has been pretty much consistent throughout the comic books. Now, on the opposite end, Wolverine, depending on the writer, depending on the dimension, or yeah, depending on where he is, right, and who's writing him, his powers have wandered and wavered, right? But for Deadpool in particular, we know that his regeneration ability has been pretty consistent, right? If his arm gets cut off, then what's supposed to happen, right, is that if it's like close by, it can attach to him again, right? Um, Similarly, that if his head is chopped off, then he'll basically grow a new body, right? Uh, his regeneration is wildly capable, right? I would say he's one of the best regenerators in the whole history of the Marvel universe itself, right? Argue with me, because I kid you not, every book that I've seen where Wade Wilson is basically hurt to the point of like no return, he's able to come back, right? This is kind of the height of his potential. Now, uh, he also has longevity, which is an offspring, right, of uh, regeneration, right? When we think about regeneration, it's basically like we talked about in the Wolverine powers discussed. It's when the atoms and the cells are basically not that they're slowing down in terms of their movement, but basically their ability to uh, come back, right? A lot faster over and over. Now, when we think about the human body in particular, the human body is able to regenerate a series of cells every so often, right, in terms of years, right? Now, for Deadpool himself, he does the same thing but on a faster rate. And the mitochondria has the powerhouse to continue doing that over and over again for a long period of time, which we would call longevity, meaning that he can live a lot longer than any other individual, right? Now, if of course, right, there are other beings out there, but when we talk about Deadpool, Deadpool is goes hand in hand with a couple of things, right? Number one, he's a skilled martial artist, and basically a gun. He's really good in gun kung fu, right? Or gun fu. And when you couple those things together with regeneration, he is a sight to behold against going against the army or going against pretty much any threat available at the time. Now he isn't a powerhouse, right? And when I say a powerhouse, he doesn't have abilities that really lend itself to him doing a destructive force, right? But in terms of his abilities and how he's able to utilize them, he's very well capable, right? Now, if we're going to talk about his other abilities, he that are not part of his power set, but are part of what we can say are powers in general. Or he does have a device that helps him to utilize a teleportation phase, right? Now, I've talked about teleportation before in another powers discussed video. teleportation is the ability to transport one set of atoms to another location and reconstitute them, right? Now, why does that matter? Because again, like in our current time, right, we're trying to do that, right? We're trying to do teleportation, but we all know that, um, or for some of you who do know, and for the ones who don't, when you're trying to transport a set of atoms to another location, the theory is that they will just come up, right? But we know that the theory is often is is slanted, right? Because when you're in order to basically take one set of atoms from one location to the next location, you would literally have to take one set of atoms, copy them, and then reconstitute them in another location. That's what's actually happening, right? That's why we don't actually have a true teleportation. We just have basically copy and paste, right? Which really means that one set of atoms are dying, or one set of atoms or that person who is trying to teleport is dying, and then reconstituting themselves as another person, which then leads into the question, is that really you, right? Probably not. But what but of course we're talking about comic books here. So Deadpool is able to take a set of atoms, which is himself, reconstitute them in another location along with his clothes as well, right? uh, and pretty instantaneously, right? His teleportation isn't really limited to a long time, right? Now, the device itself does need to do a recharging phase and things of that nature, but couple and regeneration with teleportation, with um, just great levels of hand-to-hand combat, and just one of the highest levels of use of weaponry there is, and you get the most amazing character you have ever seen. And that's not it, right? Now I'm going a little bit off when it comes to his powers, but I'm really invested into the Deadpool because he has, like Dupe, the ability to not Dupe, sorry, like Slapstick, the ability to break the fourth wall. Now, a lot of folks theorize, and I theorize this too, that it's his level of sanity that allows him to do this, right? Now, notice I didn't say insanity, right? Insanity is just a perspective on where a person's mindscape or mental um, psychosis, right, or mentality should be, right? But who's to say where someone's head should be when you are what you are, right? And for Deadpool, he's able to break the fourth wall, meaning that he'll talk to you while he's in the comic book itself, right? He'll utilize dialogue as if he's speaking to the reader while being in the midst of other characters within the comic book. So those comic book characters think he is crazy, right? But we know that he's just talking to us,
Jesus
right? And we could
Christ.
see him as whatever we want because we're the reader, right? We're the ones who are invested in the comic book at the time. But in terms of his powers, that is his power sets, right? It's his main power is just basically regeneration and longevity, right? And his regeneration is probably at the highest levels that I've ever seen in terms of regeneration. Now, after the video, definitely let me know whose regeneration is higher than that, right? When it comes to humanoid based characters, right? Don't bring out like the Technarch and things like that. I just mean characters who are humanoid on Earth, right? So, yeah, that's Deadpool. If I was to rate him as a teammate, or a person that I would want on my team, I would definitely give him I would definitely give him a 10 in terms of a character that I would want on my team. Now, uh, he does make a lot of jokes and he seems like a joke character very often, but when it's time to get serious, he'll get the job done, right? And even though he isn't a omega level mutant, right? What can happen is that his ability to regenerate and utilize his teleportation device will lend itself to helping another, right? Teaming up with another mutant and then using those abilities in sync with each other, right? One of the things I'm super invested in that I've been seeing a lot on in recent X-Men comic books, when you're looking at like Dawn of X and then what's coming up in Reign of X, is that we know how power sets are, right? But when they're combined together and utilize in synergy, then you get something that's quite extraordinary, right? But anyway, I don't want to keep ranting because I'm gonna make another video right after this for another character, and that goes to Kitty Pride, which is we know as Kate Pride or Shadow Cat. All right, everyone, this is Zen from Zen Multiverse saying peace, love, and prosperity. If you're enjoying my content, drop me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll catch you all later for the next one. Later.